Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist First Weather here. It is November 30th, 2018, the last day of the month, and there is certainly a lot to talk about as we head into the first couple of weeks of December, so let's get right to it. Just to recap, the month of November has been very cold for almost the entire United States. The only area that has seen above average temperatures has been the state of California, really. Everywhere else has been seeing below average temperatures, with the core of the below average temperatures being in the center of the country. We have temperatures being well below average here, with temperatures below to slightly below average in the rest of the lower 48. Meanwhile, Alaska has been seeing record warmth for the month. Alright, and November was really just classified can be described as a month of lots of frequent cold outbreaks, temperatures being consistently below normal, and it's going to be interesting if that trend continues, and it looks like it will continue at least for the next week or so. And as we go to the FV3 GFS, the updated version of the GFS that will be substituted for the GFS in January of 2019, we can see that it's for 0Z Saturday, December 1st. By the way, this is the 18Z run. Has weather disturbance right here, bringing some showers to this area right here as we go through in time. It actually becomes a pretty significant rainmaker, especially for states like Indiana and Missouri, with some pretty significant rains. And some of these storms, or some of these areas, could see some pretty good thunderstorms actually. And this extends down south into the Panhandle of Florida. Right? If we look at temperature anomalies, we're going to see that temperature anomalies will be well above average. Look at these. Look at this. Excuse me. These are temperature anomalies about 10 to 15 degrees, even more above average, and so that will really fuel some instability for these storms. And these storms might resemble the typical summertime thunderstorms you see in the summer, rather than the normal typical showers that we see in the early part of December. And if we look back to the precip, we can see that the low is right here on the backside. Some snow potentially, nothing that great as of now. But then as you go through time, that cold air really starts to wrap around, and that area of precip changes over to some pretty significant heavy snow. And this is going to be a cutter system where it's going to go somewhat like this, alright, and it's going to bring that snow to the west side of the system. And it should be pretty much fairly light in these areas, but you could see a few areas that do see a few inches of snow. If we go to the total snowfall, we'll see that obviously the model is greatly overplaying the snowfall totals here, but you could see isolated areas, especially in this hole right here, seeing up to 6-7 inches of snow, with lighter amounts as you go in these areas right here, nothing more than 4 inches really. Then as you go through that, we see that we get another reinforcing shot of cold air with below average temperatures from the west to the eastern portion of the country. If we go to the upper dynamics and we go to the 500 MB height anomaly, we can see it's a really broad trough, not really a strong, well-defined trough, but very broad with below average anomalies throughout the country. Right? If we go back to the MSP and frozen precip, this is December 4th, by the way, so this is Tuesday, that broad trough in place. And a few of the models a couple days ago were showing the development of a low pressure right here, which would give some pretty significant precip to the mid-Atlantic, rain, sleet changing over to snow, but that has not continued. That trend has ended, and I think really we're just going to be seeing a disturbance coming through that's going to spark off a few snow showers and light sprinkles in states like Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and maybe even South Carolina. Nothing really, it's not going to be a big deal. And also keep in mind the air will be dry, so a lot of these showers and snow showers will show up on radar, but they won't really fall to the ground. And even in areas that do see snow falling on the ground, will not see anything really stick. Snow will be too light, so really not a big deal at all. Now, our attention turns to the next system, with a big system coming into California, providing rain and snow, which is much needed for that area. Alright, and then a lot of the models are developing that into a system of pretty nice, well-defined low pressure right here. And this is where the models get confused. Alright, a couple days ago, the European was taking it like this, being an Appalachian cutter. That will be bringing heavy snow to these areas, so it would be more of a rain to snow event with only rain for areas east of the Appalachians, but maybe changing over to snow in the Northeast, which would really be mostly a no deal scenario. And then we have some models that are taking it slightly more coastal, with it going somewhat through Virginia, and then like this, that would bring heavy snow to the interior portions of the Northeast and Appalachians, but not really significant snow to the I-95 cities. And then finally you have the scenario where the system just basically goes due east, and that would bring significant snow to these areas right here. And the GFS was actually showing this, and so was the FV3 a few runs ago actually. If we go to the 18Z run on Thursday, the GFS was showing a really classic monster snowstorm for the mid-Atlantic. Obviously I didn't buy this because we are still so far out. Things basically flip back and forth, but I do want to point out the significance of, sorry, wrong model right there. I do want to point out the significance of these high pressure systems right here. You have a high right here, high right here, alright? It's locking that cold air in place. So wherever the system does go, there will be some heavy snow on the backside of it. But the question is, where will this system go? Excuse me. And the three main tracks right now are this, and this, alright? And so that remains to be seen. And we will get the answer to that question as we go closer to with time. But if we look at the most recent model data with the FV3 GFS, you can see that it takes that inland track actually and goes through the interior portions of the Northeast and goes to the Appalachians. And like I said, there will be cold air in trend, so the backside of the system and the cold side of the system will see heavy, wet snow, especially as you get closer to that low. So with this scenario, upstate Pennsylvania, New York, they will get the heavy snow. But again, look at the I-95 cities. Really kind of missing out with seeing heavy rain rather than heavy snow, alright? And then that goes through, we see another little shot of cold air, and then that's when the warm-up begins. I think the FV3 is wrong with the solution, bringing another shot of cold air, especially in the end. I think after the system goes through, we're going to be going through a pattern change. If you look at all the indices, around December 15th, 16th, we're going to be undergoing a pattern change where everything will start to look more favorable for milder conditions in the United States. So if we look at that, we go to the CFS weekly models, alright? So week 1, alright, so these are showing the warm temperatures expected this weekend, but week 2, look at that, cooler temperatures in the eastern portion of the country. And then if we go to week 3, that's when that cold air really collapses. Look at this. These are well above average temperature readings. And I think this actually might continue well into the late part of December. So it's been a very cold November, very cold first week of December it's looking like. But I think the majority of December should be mild and quiet actually over the central and eastern United States. So really sharp contrast from the November we saw. And I think for you spring and summer lovers, this will be a well-deserved break for you guys, as the mid-Atlantic and northeast snow threat after December 15th is quite low with the upcoming pattern with that big ridge, warm air coming in, Appalachian cutters due to the mild pattern. So things are looking up for spring and summer lovers, especially as we go past December 15th. And that trend looks to continue as we go to week 5 and week 6. But there are signs that after the new year, around January 8th, 7th, or 6th maybe, that warm pattern will start to break down, and we will finally start to go into that cold pattern forecasted for this winter. Alright, and the major thing is though, for you snow haters out there, and I know there are a lot of you guys, I know you guys are looking forward to that warm or mild second half of December, but you have to get through this upcoming week. And again, if you look at those 2 snow chances, the first one really looking insignificant now, maybe just a few flurries, hit and miss, but the second system is really the one to watch. Either way, whatever happens, someone is going to get some heavy snow. If it goes like this, these areas will get pounded. If it goes like this, these areas will get pounded. And if it goes like this, Richmond, Central Virginia, and the Mid-Atlantic states will get pounded. So that remains to be seen. Right now, I'm really not buying the inland cutter track That I think is unlikely. However, now the main battle is whether the system will go like this or like this. All right, that is the battle. And if you and the European, if we look at that, very reliable model. The European had a cutter system actually going like this, unlike all the other models, but now it has started to back off that and is taking more of a coastal track with snow coming more to these areas right here. Not quite to the I-95 cities, a little bit to the west of that, but it is aligning more and more with what the GFS and FV3 GFS was showing a couple of days ago. So again, this is very interesting. We have cold air locked in place. The ingredients are there. Now we just have to see if those ingredients will come together to bring that perfect mid-Atlantic snowstorm for early December. So that pretty much sums up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.